Hello people, I am Sky Demolisher and welcome back for another From the Collection Fridays, a series where I take things from my collection and show it to you, my viewers. And this week it is Imperial Assault. Now this is a miniatures kind of RPG light board game that came out from Fantasy Flight Games. Bit of a tongue twister there. A number of years ago, but I believe it's still in production and you'll be able to get components for it and everything. There's like expansion packs and all of that. Now, while this is a game for 2 to 5 people, there is actually an app that can be put onto your... I believe it's both on mobile devices and Steam, but I use the Steam version that can help you play it. And that's one of the reasons why, like previous weeks, I've bought it up, because there's other componentry to it that you can use. Now, at the moment, I believe that we will now be finishing up week 3 of our isolation. I hope you're doing well. Hopefully things are going okay in the world. I really hope they are. Now, this game, you basically play as members of the rebellion that are fighting against the Empire. So you'll choose to play as a character, one of the specific characters. So you might be Diala Pasil, who is basically a Jedi, or she might have been like a Padawan that escaped Order 66. And the cards give you the details of like how they attack and their special abilities and all that sort of stuff. If you lose all your health on one side, then you become like wounded, so a bit like D&D in that respect. Your abilities change, the kinds of dice that you use will change. So you might be Diala, you could be Jin Odan. Now I believe this all came out before Rogue One, so it's kind of funny that there's a character called Jin Odan in this, and then, you know, we had Jin Erso in Rogue One, and Gideon Argus, and then from the expansion sets I've got Biv Bodrick here. Like I said, it's a miniatures game, so you can already see there's an ATST here. It is a very, very cool ATST, and yes, I realise that a lot of people paint things, and you should probably paint these, but I'm extremely lazy and I'm not very good at painting things, so I didn't paint any of them. Now, the game is set out using things like this, like a board. So you actually make, as per whatever the mission is. So if you're using the app will have specific missions that you use. If you're playing it as the game itself, then the game has missions. And depending on if you succeed or fail on those missions, it will take the story to different places. So no 2 times do you play it will it be the same. Now the base set comes with a Luke Skywalker and a Darth Vader. Down here I have a Darth Maul from the Darth Maul expansion. There is like a heavy stormtrooper. That came from the... I think it's called Shadows over Bespin. This is one of the main characters, so the Rebellion characters are always in this sort of brown plastic. This is a Rebel Trooper. You might recognise him from like Episode 4. And then there is a Rebel Saboteur. So if you've played like Battlefront 2, then it will probably play a bit like that, but on the tabletop. It's quite a fun game. Now the base game, like I said, it comes with those ATSTs, and it comes with like teams of stormtroopers. I realise that they're probably not going to show up very clearly. But in one of my games of this from the app, I have had like Darth Vader show up. At another time when I really wasn't in a great place game-wise, I had Darth Maul show up. As you can imagine, things did not go down very well. But there is actually quite a bit of space required to play this game. It's got dice, it's got a lot of cards, and you need a fairly good amount of area to put down the game board, because the game board, particularly with the app, changes its size. So like when you're playing it from the app version, you might start out in like one room, and then it will add on the extra rooms as you go along until you've got a board that's probably close to half a meter in a square. So it can actually get quite large on the table, but it can be an extremely fun game, and that's particularly if you enjoy the Star Wars universe. Just like other games that I've covered the past couple of weeks, it can also be extremely brutal. As you can imagine with the likes of Darth Maul and Darth Vader showing up. There are also like extra characters, so there's like Trandoshans like Bosk, and creatures like you would have seen in Attack of the Clones. And the other side of this game is that you can play it as a skirmish game. You don't just have to play it as like an RPG game. Although the skirmish version of it has really been taken over by a different game. Just trying to think of it at the moment. Legion. I'm pretty sure it's called Legion. I have like the starter for it. I have played 2 games, and then I really haven't had the opportunity to play with other people because I'm very isolating, or very isolated where I live, and I isolate myself from other people a lot because of reasons. So this is a good game to play, at least in my opinion, a good game to play by yourself, but it's also a really good game to play with other people if they enjoy the Star Wars universe. As you saw, there is an ATST, there are other vehicles in it. It's certainly not like X-Wings and A-Wings and all of that. If you want that kind of fun, then you'll have to get into X-Wing miniatures, or Armada if you're really into like the Star Destroyers and all of that. In Christchurch, the last I saw, or last I knew, is a lot of the stuff was available from the Wizard's Retreat. They're currently, I believe, closed down because of the quarantine. The same thing goes for Mighty Ape. And a lot of the stuff I've either got from the Wizard's Retreat, or I bought it from Mighty Ape during sales. And it quite often does go into the sale. So if it's something you're interested in, then keep an eye out for it. I hope you're all doing okay, and until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye.